Coming to you live from the Cowboys headquarters in Frisco. Deep in the heart of Texas, it's the Star at Night.
Wow, dramatic much?
Why are you getting in the way of my intro?
You mean our intro? We're your hosts. I'm Kelsey Charles.
And I'm David Hellman.
Okay, let's just start this show now.
What is up, everyone? Breaking news. David Hellman has indeed returned from New Orleans,
I survived
Louisiana.
Bourbon Street.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
I
spent a lot of time there.
Didn't spend a minute on Bourbon. Not some sort of low-class tourist, okay?
Okay.
Sophisticated local.
Wow.
God, anybody watching this, just turn this off.
Yeah,
Okay.
seriously, it's fine. Just can't cancel it completely. All right, Dave. So there was a game that happened.
Was there?
Yes, outside of
It feels
Bourbon
like a
Street.
lifetime ago.
It does.
So, okay.
It does.
Do we need to talk about it?
Extended trips to New Orleans will do that to you. But I
Okay.
do want to talk about it because
killed
the
some
Dallas
brain cells.
Cowboys actually came away with a victory. And again, largely due in part to the defense. I need to get your thoughts. You were actually in the building. What went down? Who gets the credit here?
I mean, maybe the credit should go to Taysom Hill for not knowing how to throw. No, I mean, it's a little bit of everything, right? Honestly, I was joking about forgetting about this game, but it's like a palate cleanser. Like, we're closing the chapter on that terrible stretch of 4 games in less than a month. We're moving on. Division's in front of us. It was an ugly game. There's no way around it. The defense got 4 interceptions. I give them a lot of the credit. Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard came through when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Gallup, I see you in the B-roll getting back on the box
Carlos
score.
Watkins play the game.
I couldn't tell. I was standing on the field for that and just saw a gigantic man running into the end zone. I was like, a fat guy scored. I'm not sure who it was, but a fat guy scored.
I don't even care.
Just that this is a forgettable game.
Yeah.
And sorry for the cheap shot, Taysom Hill. But the Saints aren't built to come from behind with their current quarterback, and the Cowboys took advantage of it.
It's only cheap if it's not true. All right, so I do want to close the book on this chapter of the losing streak that was the Dallas Cowboys mid-season performance, because we do have the end of the season to look forward to.
Yes.
And the Cowboys are leading the NFC East by 2 games. They got 5 left. It's really heavy divisionally. Dave, I need to get your thoughts on truly what it's going to take for this Cowboys team to survive this, and not just survive, but thrive.
No, I think they're going to be fine, and that's my point. They got a long weekend off. They finally got a chance to rest. We've been talking about that for a month. All they've got to do is win their division games, and guess what?
Simple.
Look, I know Washington's on a heater. They've won 4 straight. They're not a good team.
Raiders.
They're not a good team. I don't care. I'll take the Cowboys. Same thing with the Eagles. Gardner Minshew? No. The New York Giants?
Oh, come on.
The New York Giants? No. The Cowboys are still the best team in this division, struggles and all. All they have to do is handle business in 3 of those 4 games, and they'll be just fine. We're not talking about November anymore. It's December.
All right, December. So we see you. We're coming for you. We feel pretty confident. But again, I think at the end of the day, this Cowboys team has to win the game of attrition. We know that injuries have been a problem, but you know what? I'm going to be positive. We're going to break it down a little bit more.
Great.
We've got a former head coach joining us who's going to be telling us a little bit more about what it's going to take. Stay with us. I'm really sorry.
Cowboys Star at Night is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by Favor, the official on-demand food delivery partner of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
My name is Dave. I have my own show. We're going to take you through the Cowboys issues blow by blow.
I dislike you.
I came up with that right off the dome.
You guys.
You're welcome.
Literally, in between the break, he goes, I'm going to intro this. I have the best part.
It was
Like,
great.
it was fun.
Get to it because we're running low on time.
All right. So I would like to play a game of fill in the blank because I have some questions.
The Cowboys
for you.
issues. That's the ones that I was referring to.
Correct.
Let's do it.
Correct. So let's kick it off with Zeke because we all know he's been dealing with a bit of an injury, and I would like to ask you, David.
Yes.
How many games, fill in the blank, should this Cowboys team rest Zeke?
Donut, zero, none, nada. He's been playing through it. He got a long weekend off, which I want to qualify. If Zeke is hurt to the point that he thinks he needs to sit, fine, but he doesn't need it. My man's playing through it. My man's great in pass protection. My man's still decent as a runner. Stop trying to get Zeke off the field. I say none.
Even when he's hurt, he's better than most.
Yeah, exactly. And Tony Pollard's there to help lift him up. Maybe Pollard should be getting more carries in games.
Yeah.
But I'm not sitting Zeke down for nothing.
I've said it before. I think Pollard's the number one RB on another team, but you know what? He's a different style back than what we've got here, so we'll take it in the backfield. All right, so let's talk about the Connors for a minute because we know this O-line. There's been some shuffles, all right? So I need to know left guard Connor Williams. Is he going to be your starting left guard, or are we going to go McGovern?
I think I'm ready to see Willie again.
Are you?
I think so. And Matt, I don't know, the difference doesn't seem super noticeable. I'm not acting like it's a huge deal, but they were moving the ball better with Connor Williams. Maybe if he cleans up his penalties, I don't know. I don't have an answer to the offensive line's woes, but I think I'd put the vet back in.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and put McGovern as our fullback again.
Yeah, what happened to the jumbo?
We need some reinforcements in the backfield anyways. It's
Bring
perfect.
back the jumbo.
All right, let's talk about the defense here for a minute because there's a couple guys who are having themselves a bit of a great season. I need to know who's the defensive MVP. Fill in the blank. Is it Diggs or Parsons? Really, Kelsey?
Python?
Wow.
Parsons? It's Micah Parsons, and I'm sorry
Words
to
are
that
hard.
man. I'm sorry, Trevon. You're having an incredible season, but what Micah Parsons is doing as a rookie at multiple positions.
Unbelievable.
10.5 sacks. He might set the rookie sack record. It's Mike. He's doing it in crunch time. He's saving games. He could have saved the game against the Raiders if not for a bogus PI. He did save the game against the Saints. It's Micah. No offense, Trevon. I
Okay.
see you streaking into the end zone there.
All right, so I want to know how many guys are going to be streaking it into the end zone in time for the Pro Bowl.
Hopefully none, right? Ba-doom.
Oh!
Hopefully none.
He
'cause
went there.
They'll be playing in a different game, but they're still going to get named. I'm going to say 8. 5 on offense.
Not bad.
3 on defense, maybe.
Okay.
Micah, Diggs, Jaron Curse.
I'm buying what you're selling.
Dak,
Jaron
Zeke,
Curse,
Zach,
I love
Tyron.
that.
Yeah. 5, 8. I'm going 8 Cowboys in the Pro Bowl.
All right, well, I'm on board with that, I have to say.
You want to do the outro? I got some more rhymes, unless you got something.
I would love for you,
say.
please do.
Oh, no, you put me on the spot. Daves of the world unite. We got an interview with my old buddy. There he is. Coach Dave Campo joins us next.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
I never get tired of the Rolodex that we have here at the Dallas
Great.
Cowboys. You never know who you're going to wind up talking to, which check me on this symmetry. So in a week when the Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy had to do so much stuff virtual, we've got another former Cowboys coach virtual. We are joined by none other than our buddy Dave Campo, longtime Cowboys assistant, former Cowboys head coach. Dave, it's wonderful to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. You know, as we mentioned earlier, I'm always a Cowboy, so anything I can do with you guys is my pleasure.
Okay, I think you can offer some interesting perspective here. Obviously, wonderful start to the season for this year's team. It's gotten a little bumpy over the last month or so. You were an assistant on some really good teams. You coached for some not so great teams as well. How, in your perspective, what is the key to kind of weathering a rough patch in a season? Maybe you drop a few games. Maybe you're not playing as well as you were at one point. What's the key to kind of getting people back on track and rediscovering what made you successful?
Well, there's a couple things, Dave. To be honest with you, number one is stay away from injury. You know, one of the things that the Cowboys have you know, when this football team this year is healthy, it's going to be tough to beat them because, you know, they're capable of putting a lot of points on the board. They can run the football when they have to. They can throw it with the receivers they've got. You know, they've got really 3 guys that Gallup, Cooper, and Lamb. that can make plays down the field. You know, they've got what we had, a tight end in Schultz. It's not bad. It's kind of what we had during the 90s when we had the Super Bowl teams. So when they're healthy, and I think Coach Quinn has done a great job with the defense. The defense has improved. It's not a number one defense right now, but it's good enough to complement the offense. So they've got to stay healthy down the stretch. That's number one. But number two, they have to have the right guys in the locker room. And starting with the quarterback in Dak Prescott, I think they've got the right guys in the locker room. He's a great leader. I think that he's the type of guy that can hold the team together, and I think he did during this little stretch where they struggled a little bit. And, you know, he's the type of guy that can keep a team together, and I think that combination, as long as the team believes in themselves, they've got a great chance to weather the storm and go forward. There was no year, obviously in the National Football League, it's very difficult to win, and there was no year during our 3 Super Bowl runs where we didn't lose some ball games.
So, Coach, I want to dive into that a little bit more because you mentioned this defense, and they're admittedly one of the reasons that this team has been able to stay in these games, which is very weird. I think a bit of a foreign feeling for Cowboys fans, at least Cowboys fans as of late. So, DBs, Trevon Diggs. This is a guy, he's been a bit polarizing. He's incredible, obviously, leading the league with 9 interceptions. That's wonderful. But I want to get your thoughts on some of the flip side of, you know, his development. Are there any concerns at all in the nature of his play from your personal perspective? He's very aggressive, but that can also hurt him. A lot of people are criticizing him for giving up big plays. So overall, analysis-wise, what are your thoughts on the current state of Trevon Diggs, what he brings to this defense, and are you concerned at all? Do you want him to tighten up in his game at all, or are you like, hey, listen, DQ, let the man play?
Well, number one, Kelsey, he's a playmaker. And, you know, the key to winning in the National Football League is turnovers. The team that wins the turnover battle has a pretty good chance of winning the ball game based on how much they win the turnover battle by. And, you know, Diggs is one of those guys that because of his aggressiveness, he can make plays and he will sell out to make a play. Now, there's times where it might get him into trouble because he's a little overly aggressive and it's kind of hit and miss at times. And that's something that the defensive backfield coach and the head coach has to impress upon him, that there's a time and place to really, go after, to make a big play. And there's a time to just get the guy on the ground or knock the ball down. The one thing about Diggs, though, you don't want to take his aggressiveness away too much because that's one of the things that separates him from just another defensive back. You know, he's a guy that can make a big play when it counts, and you certainly want a lot of those guys on your ball club, especially down the stretch.
I got one more for you, which it's wild to think Trevon Diggs isn't the only headline maker on this defense.
Truly.
If you have, Micah Parsons, it speaks for itself to some degree. But an interesting topic of conversation around here is we're kind of moving into unprecedented territory with this guy. You know, like you start thinking about rookie comparisons. I don't even want to mention the name Lawrence Taylor. That makes me uncomfortable. But that's the type of territory that we're getting into. Coach, you spent time around a very versatile rookie by the name of Darren Woodson. Can you, what's your perspective on this? And I don't know, how much higher is this guy's ceiling?
Well, let me tell you something, and I've watched almost every Cowboy game. I've missed a couple, but, I've got the Game Pass, so I watch the ball game. This guy is a special cat. Parsons is a guy that, when they made the switch from linebacker to, and I guess he's still a linebacker, but on the line of scrimmage where he's rushing the passer, there's not a lot of offensive tackles in this league that can handle him. He's got great quickness. He's an outstanding athlete, and he's relentless. And, to me, I haven't seen him here in the league, but I'd have to say he would have a great chance and possibility of being Rookie of the Year. The guy I think he's a better edge rusher than he is a linebacker. And he's versatile enough in their defense to where not only can he rush the passer, but he can drop and he can move around and be inside at times and do some things rushing against the guards, for example, that aren't quite as good a pass protectors as the tackles. So I think the Cowboys really got a good one in that kid, and you combine them with Gregory and Lawrence. You know, if you get in third down against the Cowboys, you got a serious problem. You know, and you know, rushing the passer is the key to Trevon, Diggs, and some of those other DBs being as good as they need to be. So I like the guy. I think he's a special guy, and I think his ceiling is way up there. And I don't want to compare him to Lawrence Taylor either, but you know, he's got the ability to be a great one, and he's demonstrating it at this point right now.
Some bold statements, Coach. Hopefully you are right. Thank you for joining us. We do appreciate your time. Yes, truly.
My pleasure, guys, and go Cowboys. Great to talk with you, David, Kelsey. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right, well, Coach Campo is the only one making bold statements. We've got a few Cowboys players that are doing the same with My Cause, My Cleats. More on that coming up next.
This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Dave, so we all know you're a big sneakerhead.
Can you see my J's right now?
Literally, you are constantly getting compliments.
They're in need of a cleaning, to be honest with you.
Oh, it fooled me. But I do need to get your analysis on some very important sneakers that are coming up here this season. My Cause, My Cleats, one of my personal favorites, the NFL
I just wish they would do this all year, to be honest with you.
I know. So the NFL goes and lessens the rules, if you will, for having different kinds of cleats, uniforms on the field, and the result is My Cause, My Cleats.
You can have personality 2 weeks out of the year.
That's right.
Thank you, NFL. Now, it is cool, and these guys raise a lot of awareness for causes that are near and dear to them.
Yep.
Dak Prescott's Faith, Fight, Finish Foundation. Those are dope. Can I see the next ones, please, Caden? These, and
those look like slime.
I forgot in the Superdome that it was My Cause, My Cleats week, and I was like, Zeke with the lime green, let's go! And then I find out it's for Oak Cliff, which is something Zeke's been working with for a long time. These are fantastic. If you know me at all, you know, like, the gaudier and brighter the color, the better, which is weird because my soul is black, but on to Randy Gregory. Let's go. Again, which Randy hasn't been getting to play, so I'm hoping we're going to see these in D.C. this weekend.
Crossed.
Gregory should be back. That, I don't know. I don't know why. Like, the more obnoxious the color, the more I like it.
Yep, me too. Aww. I personally...
for the healthcare workers.
Yeah, I love this one for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Zach Martin representing these guys that have just been, like, giving it all, thanks to all the front
Terrence
line.
Steele, again, like, I hope these guys get to wear these. Obviously, Terrence Steele not playing against the Saints. Didn't get to wear these for the Emerging Vets and Players Foundation, but those are dope. Oh, okay, I didn't see these before. I've seen the rest of these. Those are fire. Brian Anger. And the way he was booming punts in the Superdome as well, I'm ashamed those didn't stand out to me. That is absolutely fantastic. And
I love these.
Malik Turner, shouts out to you. Block to spring Tony Pollard on the touchdown run. Block to spring Tony Pollard on a kickoff return. And look him fly in these as well. Way to go, my guy.
You guys can check out more of them on DallasCowboys.com because the list is endless.
That is a fantastic plug.
All right. So while a lot of these Cowboys players are winning with their shoe game, we have a former Cowboys player who did some winning of his own very recently. We're going to talk about that coming up next.
Cowboys Star at Night was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys, AT&T, and by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
Comfortable. There's Hawkinson inside. Here we go. Goff from the gun to the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown.
I think the Lions were already, I think people were already rooting for them because of how hard they've been fighting this season. And then on top of that, the tragic incident in Oxford this week, the shooting up in Oxford, Michigan this week, just only emphasized that. Obviously, some things like that are so much more important than sports, but
Sure.
that's a nice moment. And Dan Campbell, with his history with the Cowboys, you love to see it.
You love to see
Rooting
it.
for the Lions to keep their winning ways going, and thoughts with everybody.
Keep their winning ways going.
I mean, they can at least try. They don't only have to get one win.
All right.
They've come close to like 5 other ones.
That's true.
I'm rooting for you, Lions.
That's
and I'm rooting
true.
for all y'all up in Michigan as well.
All right. Well, we actually got a nice little clip from Dan himself. So let's listen to that really quickly while we're in our field. I mean, why not?
Well, first thing I'm going to start with, this game ball goes to the whole Oxford community. All those were affected. And that being said, man, I want us to not forget these names: Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, Justin Schilling, Tate Meir, Phoebe Arthur, John Ashudu, Riley France, Elijah Mueller, Kylie Osigi, Aiden Watson, and Molly Darnell, who's a teacher. Those names, for all those, will never be forgotten, and they're in our hearts and our prayers and all the families, and not to mention all those that were affected by all of this.
A football game doesn't do anything to offset a tragedy like that, but I appreciate the Lions going to bat for the people of their state. Love to see it. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.